Hi guys, this is Sarah from Sarah's Craftin. I tend to say crafting, but it is craftin, Tin apostrophe. There's another Sarah's Crafting out there, so if you can't find me, that's probably what's going on. Today's video is how to pick a needle for your project. Um, there is probably no one perfect needle for anybody, but I can give you a little bit of information that will help you make a decision. I also have some information that I downloaded from the John James Company, which is one of the uh, premier needle companies. I think they work out of England, but I'm not 100% sure. It's been a while. But anyway, they make good needles, and you are likely to find them available in uh, most locations. And they give very good information about the sizes that are available, what you should use for what, etc., etc., etc. So I'm pretty sure I will be able to download that into the comments. If not, I will find another way to get it to you, and we will go from there. The main thing I wanted to talk to you about, sorry about that, I'm wobbling a little bit, uh, is the difference between a tapestry needle and a crewel. Sometimes they call it sharp, sometimes they call it embroidery needle. Embroidery needles have a sharp point. They are made to pierce the fabric that you're working on. You're usually working from a stamped design, and you want your stitches very close, and you want to be able to put it in, wherever you want to place your needle. Tapestry needles are used with canvas work, and if you've ever seen a needlepoint canvas, you know they've got open holes. Um, and cross stitch fabric is the same thing. You're going to be placing it in a hole in a precise location so that your stitches are consistent. And you do not want to be, with a sharp needle, you don't want to be piercing the middle of a fabric because it'll show. And as far as the type of metal to choose, a lot of kits are kitted with inexpensive needles, which are usually nickel. A lot of people have nickel issues. If you've been stitching for a while and your fingers hurt or they're red or maybe even starting to crack, you're probably allergic to that needle. The next step up are gold needles, and they're a good needle. The problem with gold is it is a soft metal, so that you might have an issue with the needle bending over time. I have used a needle so long sometimes that it turns into a half moon size, but that's me. Or it might break. If a needle breaks, it's usually at the bottom of the eye, which is the thinnest portion of the needle and where it gets the most stress. The next step up is a platinum needle. I love platinum needles, but they are very expensive. You might spend $5, $6 for one or two needles. If you're the type of person that loses a needle constantly, you don't want to be spending that kind of money on your needles. I tend to get a favorite needle, and I don't have any allergy issues, so I've used all types of things, but I pay more attention to the size of the needle and the thread versus the threads that I'm working with. I don't always use DMC floss. Sometimes I want a different texture, so I'm using something that's thicker, and I need something that's got a bigger eye. As far as using a bigger needle than what's called for, the big thing to consider is whether it distorts the fabric that you're using. If you have trouble pulling it through, or it's leaving big holes that are obvious as you stitch, you need to rethink your options because it will affect the quality of your work as you go along. Um, Most of the time in cross stitch, you're going to be using a 24, um, a 26, or a 28 if you're working on very fine fabric. Embroidery, it can go across, it really depends on the technique that you're using. Like I said, the shafts and needle in are the same sizes. The higher the number, the smaller the needle. Let's see, I did metal, I did the difference between the two. There's a couple of no-nos. In the old days, we had metal hoops with cork. If you left your work in that hoop, you ran the risk of getting a rust stain, or if you left the needle in your work, it could rust and ruin your work. Even if it doesn't rust, if you leave it in a tight hoop, it could make a permanent mark in your fabric, which you can't get out for love or money. So do be aware of that. A little history about needles. In the old days, pre-industrial, like 1840s England, needles were handmade, and they were very expensive and they were hard to come by. So you did not want to lose your needle. And they had all kinds of different ways to make sure that they kept a hold of their stitching accessories. The term pin money comes from that. They saved up what we would call our whatever, what kids get. I can't think of the name right now. But anyway, they saved up their pin money so that they could buy threads and needles and whatever they wanted for their stitching. I'll probably give you more of a history lesson as we go into different fibers and that type of thing, but that's for another video. One thing, you could spend a lot of money if you're into the antique things, and they are beautiful and they work, and you can get rosewood, or you can get sterling silver, or you can get, but they're expensive. If you are a new stitcher, use what you got. Don't go out and spend a fortune until you know that you're going to be a very serious stitcher, and then buy things as you need them. You don't have to make things the way the designer did, or use the things that the designer does. If you want to keep your needles in an old pill box, it works. Or a lot of times you'll get them in a test tube with a little cork on top. It works. You can make a inexpensive little needle case. Some people like to keep their different sizes apart so they can tell, the difference between them. You'll figure those things out as you stitch. You could even go the old-fashioned route that you probably saw your grandmother using, the strawberry pin cushion or tomato pin cushion with a little strawberry emery. And what emery is a coarse material that they put into that little strawberry, and what it does is it cleans oils or little uneven spots off of your needle and keeps it conditioned as you're using it, so that it extends the life of the needle. Again, I started out stitching when I was a starving college student. I didn't have money. A big deal for me was to go to a store and buy the 6 colors of brown that I needed for, and they were all 6 colors of anchor. That was exciting to me, because most of the time I bought whatever I could find, whatever was cheap. Sometimes we'd even go to Walmart and buy clearance kits and rob the thread out of that and use that. You know, if I needed a pink, I just found a pink. I didn't worry about whether it was the right DMC color or whether it was, you know. I don't know if that made me the creative person that I am, or I was that naturally, and you know, I've never been a real big rule follower. When I was a cross stitch shop owner, I got in trouble with the local EGA because you know, I of my attitude. I didn't have the right attitude, you know. And I didn't necessarily, I thought it was more important that brand new stitchers enjoyed what they did and didn't get scared off because they weren't doing it right, or you know, whatever it was that they were, you know, whistle about. You know, they'd come in and try to pretend that they knew what they were talking about, and they didn't. You know, it was, usually I kept my mouth shut, but I'd kind of like, oh, I know you, I know you. But anyway, again, that's for another video. Let me think a second and see if I have. We covered the metals, we covered the sizes, we covered. I'm going to get you a cheat sheet information. Another word on that, most of the big distributors do not sell direct to stitchers, but their websites have a slew of information. I got the needle information that I am going to pass down to you off of the John James needle site. Witchout carries the antique accoutrement, Rainbow Gallery. You know, what they sell, they provide information. They provide projects that you can do and how to use it and stitches, and you know, they're a wealth of information, and they are professionals. They know what they're doing. They know, you know, a lot of times the big designers are designing for them and that type of thing. So it is a very easy way to get information. And if you are having trouble finding a particular company, or you know, when I was getting ready to open the shop, that's the hardest thing. You know, who sells what? Where can I get this? Where can I get that? You know, because I was a self-taught stitcher. I didn't know squat, pretty much, but I knew how to stitch. But I didn't have the industry information that, as far as contacts and that type of thing. So if that is something that you are needing, feel free to get in touch with me. It's been a while since I've been in the stitching industry, but it hasn't changed that much. Let's see. I think that's about all I really wanted to cover. Again, you know, use what works for you. Use what you have. Be consistent. And don't be too hard on yourself. Nobody will know except you if, you know, that particular stitch is 2 stitches off or something. You know, whatever it is. It's when you get away from it and you're just looking at the finished project, nobody's going to know. Nobody, you know, you could probably even point it out to them and they wouldn't know. So, and that is my mantra. You're going to hear that time after time after time after time. So I hope this has been interesting for you. I hope this gave you some information that you didn't know, and it is useful for you. If you did, give me a like. Tell your friends. Spread the word for me. We're a brand new channel, and I'm trying to build and reach more people and share my love and knowledge with other people. And you can help a lot with that. If you have watched a couple of videos and you like what you see and you think I can help you in your journey, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. And in the meantime, have a great day. Goodbye.